Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to replace your rear wheel stock bearings on your booster board with Zealous bearings instead. And the reason why you'd want to go with Zealous bearings over the stock bearings is because they're very low maintenance. They have seals on both sides, which is good for keeping out debris, and more importantly they have built-in spacers and speed rings, which means when you take them out to clean them you don't have to keep up with the separate parts to go with regular bearings like the Super Reds. So the tools you need to do this are a 9/64 hex wrench, a skate tool with a 1/2 inch socket, which pretty much all of them do, or if you have a wrench you could use that, and of course the bearings. So we're going to start with the hard part first, which is loosening the tension on the belts. So to do this we're going to need to loosen 2 socket cap screws, one on the top, then one on the bottom. So if this is your first time doing this, you may need to use your skate tool a little bit to torque on this socket cap because it may be really tight. Whatever you need to do, basically find it in here, then turn it about a quarter turn, not very much. And do the same for the bottom. Then you'll notice you'll be able to move the motor mount if you take one hand, then try to force it back. So to make this as easy as possible, you're going to want to have your hex key in your left hand and then take your right hand and force the motor mount back. If you just saw what I did there, basically once I had it compressed here, I just took the hex key and then I tightened it down, and that's what's going to keep it in place. Now you can see I have a lot more play in the belt. Next, you're going to want to take your skate tool and loosen a nylock nut on the wheel. And once you have the nut, you're going to want to put it somewhere where you won't lose it. Once you have it off, you're going to want to rotate the wheel off of the belt. And you couldn't hear that, but a spacer just fell out. And you can just leave it there because we won't be needing those anymore. So once you have everything off, you're going to want to take any spacers or anything and just put it to the side. You'll also want to take off the big pulley support bearing, and this can be sometimes pretty difficult. You'll just want to go in a circle and kind of feel it out, and as you hear it click it'll start to come out. Then once you have all that off, you're going to want to get out the bearings, and the easiest way to do this is just using the axle and just kind of play around with it, similar to when you're installing the front bearings. And do the same for the other side. Once you have both bearings out, you're going to want to take your Zealous bearings and basically just pop them right in. So make sure the spacer side is facing towards the wheel, and try to get it as evenly as possible. And what I like to do is usually take the skate tool and just press it right in. As you heard, it just popped in. And you're going to do the same thing on this side. Sometimes you have to play around with it a little bit, but it'll go in. It's actually a little bit easier than using the axle because the belt, even when you take it down like this, it can still get in the way from you just jamming it in like you would with the front bearings. So after the bearings are in, you're going to take the big pulley support bearing. I'm going to put it onto the axle. Then you're going to take the wheel and put it back onto the axle. To do this, you're just going to need to turn it a little bit and it'll start catching the belt and just slide right in. Then once you've done that, you're going to need to retension the belt. So if you remember when we started, you're just going to need to loosen these screws again to get it to pop back. You just heard that. The bottom one was already loose. So now your belt should be retension. You see it has very little play. You're going to want to take your nylock nut and just put it over the bearing. Then take your skate tool and just tighten it back down. And you want to make sure when you're tightening it back that you don't go past this like bottoming out point, or else you're going to start damaging the bearing. So just stop once you feel it come to a stop once you're turning. Then make sure you re-tighten your socket cap screws and don't torque it back on. Don't over tighten it, or else you can start to damage the threading on the socket cap screws. But just make sure they're not loose. And then you're done. So if you had any comments about what I did, just leave them in the comment section below, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. If you have any suggestions for what I should do next, just let me know and I'll try my best to make a video.